So I'm Brandi Gollihue. I'm the Associate Vice President of Finance and Business Affairs at UPOC and Controller.
And how long have you been doing that?
I've been 8 years in June.
Wow, 8 years. Congratulations.
I started out as staff accountant. Haven't been in this big kid position the whole time, but I've worked up.
Wow.
But 8 years.
8 years. So I imagine as a kid you probably did not want to become the controller, staff.
I didn't even know what that meant.
Right? So what did you want to do as a kid?
So, as a kid, my dream job first was to be a water ballerina, which also doesn't exist. And then in middle school, going to high school, I decided I really am fascinated with, I guess I was ahead of the true crime wave because my dream job at that point was a forensic psychiatrist. I wanted to be like Clarice Starling on Silence of the Lambs. But then in high school, I got pregnant with my first child, and so I changed my mind. And then I was going to come to UPOC, or Pikeville College, and be a doctor, because we have a medical school here. Because when you're smart in high school, doctor, lawyer. It's not like, hey, have you tried engineering? Have you tried accounting? Have you tried... Those are your things. So I was like, okay, I'm smart, I'll be a doctor. And then did not become a doctor either.
So now when you think about a dream,
Mm-hmm.
so what was your dream job? Was it then this forensic psychologist or psychiatrist?
Yes,
Okay.
I thought it was. I'm fascinated by human behavior, and that was the closest thing that had, I guess, a TV show that can wrap your mind into, hey, this is a fun thing to do. Probably in real life it is not nearly as fun as it looks on TV, but that was my plan A, was to be able to deal with the craziest of people and try to understand how they work.
So it's a radical shift from water ballerina, right?
Yes.
Forensic stuff. Was there something in your life that spurred you to go the other way?
Well, probably obviously you cannot do jobs like that and raise children. So my child became first. And so then my goal was to find something I enjoyed that was stable and I didn't have to travel much and I could, focus on her and focus on myself at the same time. So that's why doctor was the next thing. But then when I got to college, I took an accounting class and it made me love accounting. So I was no longer going to become a doctor, I was going to become an accountant. And so I did.
So when we think about call,
Yes.
would you be able to identify or kind of declare your call in one sentence? I, Brandi, am called
to help people with things that aren't medical, aren't, I guess, emotional. Like, my calling is to be there when somebody's like, man, can you help me get this done? Yes, I can get that done. That is what I enjoy the most, is being which I guess is why I love to raise children. Like, how can I help you grow? How can I help be there for you? But I don't think I would have been good at counseling. I don't think I would have been good at, like, social work because I get too emotionally attached to it. So it would have been like every client was now a person. So I think the accounting is good because it's not super emotional, but you can still form relationships with people and you can still be helpful with things that stress people out. Because, credit, mortgages, loans, paychecks are super stressful to most humans who don't work in accounting. And I enjoy the fact that I can make it simple and be helpful, hopefully most of the time, to something that most people don't understand or even want to understand. Like the IRS.
Now, so when you think about, and as you support and help people and kind of following your passions, has there been a person who's been most influential on this journey?
Well, Howard Roberts is the person who told me, if you love accounting, you should change your major, because nobody loves accounting. And that was step one of me being like, hey, maybe I can be helpful in something that is not... Because, when you think about, I want to be there to help people, doctor's the first thing. I'm going to help you get better. And then the next thing is something like a chaplain or, a counselor. Like, I'm going to help you mentally get better. So I've always been the kind that's the first one to be like, hey, I'll do it. I'll volunteer. I'll help. I'll do what I can. And so when it became class time and I was good at accounting and other people weren't understanding it, I could be a tutor. And then I could be, help people with their taxes. Because my first job out of school was actually at a CPA firm. And I love taxes, which nobody loves taxes. So then it's like, help me. I will help you make this easier because I am weird and I love taxes. So Howard Roberts started it. He was the one that was like, you should change your major into accounting. And I did. And some days I curse him and some days I don't. But he was probably the one professionally that changed it the most.
So to get on the track that you are now as a, and again, repeat your title one more time.
Associate Vice President of Finance and Business Affairs.
So that's a big title.
It is.
For a young person like yourself. What did you do to get yourself positioned for that type of job?
Well, I don't think that I intentionally got myself positioned for this type of job, because when you first start, when you graduate and you go to work, what you majored in is not going to be what you do, because it can't be. I think undergraduate is to teach you to think and to teach you to be open to learning things, because you can't major in every single job there is. It's impossible. But to get to here, it was really just, the beginning was staff accountant, so I started there, and once you devote yourself to it and you do a good job, and people begin to trust your work and trust your input, and then you can change it the way you want, I think it was just a natural progression of, I tried really hard and my hard work paid off.
Excellent. So what was probably the most important factor that determined your call, and were there challenges along the way to figure this out?
The most important thing to me, obviously, is my children. So I wanted to not only do something that gave me the time to be with them, but I wanted them to be able to see that I enjoyed what I was doing. So I've never been willing to be in something that made me miserable or unhappy, no matter if it's the environment or just the job itself. But I also didn't want, like, being a stay-at-home mom was never something that I don't want to do that. Kudos to the people that do that, but I need something that is not just that all the time. So I wanted them to see me enjoying work. I wanted it to be something that I didn't dread going to. I wanted to set the example of, if it's not what makes you happy, find what makes you happy. And this is a really good environment, so I think even if it hadn't been this path at UPOC, once I started working here, I would have ended up at some path at UPOC, because I love the higher education environment. And then I love the area. So I've lived in Belfry my whole life. I'm not going to move away now. So it would have been, I would have ended up here somehow or some way doing something, I think. But, yeah.
So in kind of concluding, if you were, students come in your office all the time, and if they were particularly to come into your office and say, hey, I'm having a hard time figuring out my call or how to live a meaningful life, what would be your kind of closing comments or advice about that?
Well, something I've been telling my daughter, who's about to go to college, is she is dead set that she's going to become a veterinarian, which she might be, and that is fine. But you have to be open to the times when the Howard Robertses of the world give you an opportunity to discover something you hadn't initially thought of, and be open to this, even if this moment is so much fun, or it's so enlightening, or I feel like this is a really good place that I'm in. You have to be brave enough, I guess, to change your path to go down it. Because I think too often we've decided we're going to be this for whatever reason, and we're dead set on it. And then, like, I have a friend who became an attorney because she wanted to become an attorney, and she hates being an attorney. Mm-hmm. So she was so focused on, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to prove I can do it. I'm going to tell her, she was sure, and she didn't like doing it. So I'm glad that I was open at the moment to say, I do enjoy accounting. You can have jobs in accounting. I will change my major to accounting. Because no matter where you are, you're never really stuck. You can, if you transfer away, you can transfer back. I went to Moorhead for a year and didn't like it, so I moved back home. But I think my advice is you have to be open to doing whatever it is, because a job is just a job.